Good morning, everybody. It's 8:30. We'll call this morning's meeting of the Clay County Board of Commissioners to order for Tuesday, June 24th. Our first item is the approval of the agenda.
Offer motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mojo, second by Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens to be heard in the audience that's not on the agenda? Okay, Steve, any online?
Nothing, Mr.
All right,
Chair.
thank you. We'll move to the approval of bills and vouchers.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Krabanoff, second by Commissioner Evinger. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion carried. Approval of minutes from June 10th.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from June 10th, 2025. Second.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Bear, second by Commissioner Evinger. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. All right, next item, we have budget presentation with Dancing Sky Area Agency on Aging. And you must be Heather. Okay, all right, you can, either one you want, just make sure that your microphone is green. Yeah.
This one is green, so I'll sneak on this one.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, everyone, for having me. So my name is Heather Pender. I'm the director with Dancing Sky Area Agency on Aging. Each year, we request match funding, so I'm sure the request is not a new request to cross your guys' desks, but I wanted to share a little bit more about who we are, the work that we do, specifically to Clay County. I did follow up with some written narrative too, which is normal. I normally do that every year, but this year wanted to stop out and see if you guys had any questions, but also share a little bit more about what we do. So Dancing Sky operates under the auspices of the Northwest Regional Development Commission. We cover 21 counties in Northwest Minnesota, Clay being one of them. Our brick and mortar office is located in Warren, but we have staff throughout the 21 counties. I happen to live locally in Detroit Lakes, and then we have a few other staff here in Clay County. So primarily, the request for match funding is a request based out of our federal funding. So we receive Older Americans Act, and we need to match that federal funding with 25%, match funding to be able to draw down those allocations. So if you're familiar with the Older Americans Act funds, we redistribute those throughout. So we have a grants manager, and then we are funding various different title programs. So the Older Americans Act operates under Title III programs. So there's senior nutrition, there's caregiver supports, there's evidence-based classes, and then we have Title IIIB funds, which fund many different things such as chore, homemaker, information and assistance. So things in Clay County, like Northwest Legal Services, we fund 10% of our allocation to them to support older adults with various different legal and litigation things that they might need. CAP LP for information and assistance, Reach out of Holly, Barnesville Helpers, they have some funding for chore and homemaker. So what our grants manager does is, distributes those funds throughout our various different counties, but those are some local partners that we have. We also operate the senior linkage line. So if you're familiar with that, it is a couple different things, primarily a phone line where folks can call in, caregivers, maybe older adults need support with Medicare. That's the primary, I would say, reason why folks call, but they could be calling looking for any sort of support or service that they might need, and our phone staff are able to help with that. And then we also have a part of the senior linkage line, which is a resource coordinator. So that position is specifically targeting folks who, although it's a free service, are at risk for spending down to Medicaid. So we want to reach folks sooner, earlier, so they're not meeting their Medicaid spend down. And then that staff would help with a support plan, connecting to resources, services, setting them up with various different things, and then they provide ongoing follow-up. So I've touched on a few things, and I want to just pause to see if anyone has any questions.
Questions? Okay, not yet.
Yeah. So, like, as I said, primarily our work is the Older Americans Act funding, regranting those dollars, but then we also have team members who do program development and coordination. So the match funding also goes to be able to draw down those funds. And our program and development team do a variety of different things. It's often time limited in sense, but we are working in and with communities to get things up and going. So I'm not sure if any of you have heard of Age Friendly Moorhead. Our staff have been working with AARP and Mayor Carlson to delegate Moorhead as age friendly, and age friendly work encompasses a variety of different things. Primarily, I think on the large sense, thinking about a community that is friendly to everyone. So it might be installing curb cutouts to help not only with wheelchair access, but also, a young mother who's pushing a stroller or, a wagon, something like that. It could be a variety of different things, but our staff have been helping coordinate that. We've actually been working with an intern through MSUM who was getting her master's degree. So she did her core capstone hours with us and the age-friendly work here in Moorhead. And through that too, we've also been able to hire her short-term on a contract to do some senior linkage line work. And then another project that we have going that is, we're calling it WRAPS. So it's Wraparound Services for Adult Protection. That is an additional grant that we applied for and received funding. It's American Rescue Plan funds. But that was an opportunity to work with counties, and if someone has a open mark report, then we can work with the county to be able to supply funds, direct service funds for whatever that older adult's concern may be to reduce or mitigate their risk of maltreatment. And so this has been a new grant. Normally, as an area agency on aging, we do not have direct service funds. So kind of thinking that broader sense, we are the pass-through agency really directing funds and supplementing into the counties. So with that project alone, we have spent over $10,000 here in Clay County. And Clay County has been a really great partner through that. So the Clay County Adult Protection team has been really wonderful to work with, and partnering on that project has been new and exciting, and will unfortunately end in September, but that's another way that we've been here in Clay County and working to support older adults. So our match fund request is a little over $9,000, which equates to about 75 cents per older adult, so 60 plus in Clay County. Some of the other projects that we have going on in Clay County, we have a small contract with a gentleman who is providing one-to-one in Barnesville, Rolog area related to Medicare. So those one-to-ones can vary on, someone needing help with the plan, someone getting set up. But so far, we've had that contract in place just a couple of months. He's helped 24 older adults and offered 2 presentations. And like I said, that focus has been kind of the Barnesville, Rolog area. And then he'll be coming back in July to kind of see if there's any more folks that need one-to-one support in person. And
Do you know if there's that service provided for folks in, for example, in Moorhead?
one-to-ones?
Yes.
Yep, so that can happen a variety of different ways. That contracted position we have right now, if you know of someone, we can get them connected and he can, meet with them. The other thing is CAP LP They have an information and assistance grant and could help with some potential Medicare stuff depending on the level of, how deep it is. So the difference that we have with the gentleman that's doing specific targeted outreach is he's under the senior linkage line umbrella. So could help someone, actually enroll in Medicare and do some of that work. Cap LP is generally just that kind of real soft, directing where to go, maybe not helping fully with an enrollment. So depending on that
I
level.
think I can probably speak for everybody who is turned 65 at some point in time, that there's always the uncertainty, are you making the right choices when you're enrolling in Medicare and what your supplemental policies might be? I think that's a nervous time for every senior. And so it's nice to be able to have somebody to fall back on for those who don't have their own personal, support
Yeah.
people, yeah, so.
Yeah, Medicare is very confusing, and I don't even claim to know it all. But we have staff that are really great, and that's all they do, and so they are truly experts, and that can happen through the senior linkage line. And then this year we happen to have some funds that were looking like they were going to track unspent, and so that's why we did a supplemental contract. And then there again too, it kind of depends the person's skill set and where we want to target or where we can, build partnerships and kind of execute that. One thing that I would say that's important to not only me but our team members is, sometimes we look at like Douglas County, high population of 60 plus, but we don't want to offer services just in Alexandria. We want to make sure we're reaching, the nooks and crannies and getting people because, even Holly, a 20-minute drive, that could be a big barrier for someone to reach services and, get to where they need to be. So I think having, kind of those connections and reaching out to, deeper areas and building those connections, then when someone does need help, even if it's not exactly at that moment in time, they know who to call and who to reach out to for supports and services.
Commissioner Ebinger.
Yeah, I just want to interject. I am on the board for Dancing Skies. And the county, Clay County itself benefits greatly, as shown just with the RAP program and the other funding we get. I'm very familiar, they work closely with the CAP LP Clay County Seniors Group, which I'm on. The age-friendly Moorhead program, I'm just becoming aware of that with the CAP LP meetings. But we benefit greatly, particularly in light of what our contribution is from this organization. And what I've learned since I've come on, I had some idea about services within the city of Moorhead. But the need to have an organization like Dancing Sky in our rural areas where food distribution is essential, where transportation, particularly to medical appointments and all that, becomes problematic. There are so many things right now that CAP LP and Dancing Sky both address. This is a critical lifeline for our seniors. And looking at this commission, obviously there's three of us that are already there, and we understand the challenges that come to some degree. But when you think about people that are living on a farmstead or in a community that doesn't have ready access to food delivery, these are things that are of great concern to our area agencies on aging, and they address them. The funding right now, we're all worried about where that's going to go because so much of the money is passed through from both federal and state. But we've got oversight with our area, and that's always clumsy, our area agency on aging. It needs to be a DWI test. But we have oversight with them, and they're coming up to address the deficiencies and where the problems are. And Heather does a great job, and her staff is phenomenal. I enjoy working with them. And I just want to throw my plug in there and not interrupt you, but go ahead, Heather.
No, thank you. I appreciate that, Commissioner Ebinger. we value your partnership as well. You bring up a good point. So we do, federal funds, the Older Americans Act has not been increased for decades. Obviously, we know more folks are aging. We're aging every day. And the Older Americans Act is not meeting, fully the needs that we have. And I should do a time check. So I'll say one more thing. As area agencies on aging throughout the state, we come together and do advocacy for, in particular, senior meals, because the need is really, crucial in that particular area right now. And so the last 2 years, the AAAs, area agencies on aging, have been able to secure some state funding to, hopefully help with senior meals, although we know that we're not, there's more funding needed for that. There again, if anyone's interested in data particular to Clay County of how many meals we support with, we can certainly get any of that. So I would just say I am local. If you guys have more questions, concerns, want to know more of what we're involved in, chat. I just want to offer that too. I'm always welcome to meet you. And any questions, concerns? But then I am probably at time. I can talk a long time.
Oh, well, you're
Plenty of time.
yeah, we're ahead of schedule, so if you have more you want to talk about, you feel free
See the
to.
crowd behind you?
One of the things, how does the public become aware of your services?
Yeah, so is there something particular or just in general?
In general, you talk about the wrap service that you provide, whether it's working with the meals, working with information regarding Medicare. How do the senior citizens that live in Clay County become aware of your services to maybe to go to you for? I know CAP LP, does certain things, but I'm curious about from your point of view.
Yep. So with the senior linkage line, we do, do various different marketing. Our Facebook page shares, all of the monthly webinars that we're doing. We'll highlight grantees, do various different things. So that's a good way to connect with, kind of where we're at and things that we're working on actively. The senior linkage line has kind of its own marketing beast, so to speak, because it's a statewide service. And then, our other opportunities where we're in communities, provider and network groups, our staff are, pretty much anything aging related. I would say, we're in kind of around and able to ask questions and, make ourselves available. It's interesting because aside from the RAPS program, which was a separate grant that we, applied for and time limited, so that adult protection grant, it's hard to advertise and it's also hard to know exactly what we do because we are that entity that, dollars are essentially passing through. We're that re-grant. And so I think, people can come to us, but we want to connect them to what it is in the community. So, sticking with CAP LP.
So you want them to go to CAP LP?
We want them to, not saying that they can't come to us,
Okay.
but if they need support with, let's say, heating assistance, we're going to direct them back to CAP LP and do that warm transfer and make sure they get the services that they need and follow through. But unless it's a senior linkage line need, which we can help with forms assistance and things like that, the really only direct service arm that we have of the agency is going to be the senior linkage line. So where they're able to call or through that return to community service where they can have someone, stop out and meet with them. We do have one senior linkage line phone staff that lives here in Clay County. We have one return to community staff that live in Clay County. Our intern that was then hired, she works with the RAPS program. She's in Clay County. And then she is also doing part of her time on the phones as well. And then we have the separate contracted person with Medicare funding who's doing the, the kind of one-to-ones while that grant is running.
And I just, one final question for you. So you mentioned that this is part of 21 counties. And so the board, and Dave serves on that board, and so that board then kind of determines how much of your total resources will go to, say, Cap LP, or whether it's in the Clay County area, where you talked about Douglas County, so that board determines that?
Yep.
Or is there an established formula that's used for that?
So how we have our Dancing Sky Advisory Board, which Commissioner Ebinger is a part of, and then through that there is a grants subcommittee, and the grants subcommittee meets to review our grantees and make decisions based on funding, and then that actually goes to the Regional Development Commission, because our Regional Development Commission is technically our governing agency, and so, you know, final stamp of approval comes from them. What I would say is funding was very tight this last funding round. You know, in part to two things, all of the American Rescue Plan and all of the, you know, that kind of COVID influx of funding has winded down. And so really our allocations were similar to 2019 when we were making ours. So it felt very painful because, you know, that influx of funding had essentially ended. You know, and there again, when rounds are open, sometimes they're competitive, but then we do our grant rounds on a 5-year cycle. So it's renewable up to 5 years. So like we're in that round of, you know, Cap LP and some of those, with the exception of legal services, we have to fund legal services at 10% of our older Americans B allocation. So there are some of those stipulations that we have to be, you know, mindful of when we're executing the grant funding.
Commissioner Mojo.
Thank you. I just, always appreciate when entities come to us and talk about the massive collaboration that they do with so many different entities and organizations and counties, particularly with your board. It really helps us understand the pulse of what we're seeing in the communities that we serve and how we can leverage that collective voice together to make a sustainable impact. I also just, you know, really appreciate the collaboration with Cap LP. They really, and I know you talked about your grants and how you facilitate and stretch dollars as far as absolutely humanly possible. And, you know, this board has supported Cap LP's finances in regards to a senior coordinator, and we talked a little bit about how that's important in making sure we're connecting seniors in the community to the right resources, but also helping them choose in regards to health insurance and components like that, what makes the most sense. And so, you know, while you're coming to us asking for a minimal amount in regards to what you're able to leverage, you know, certainly this board has supported what that senior coordinator component is too. And then two is, you know, this board has supported the rural transportation request, which is a senior bus that is offered to all seniors in Clay County. It's been difficult to connect seniors to that service, and just continue to keep that top of mind as you're meeting and discussing if there are any barriers that are identified, that we can utilize that and continue to utilize that throughout Clay County, because it really is a great underutilized tool, if you will. But thanks again for your work.
Thank you. And I know you're not necessarily asking for problem solving, but that I feel like is one of my strengths. With transportation, sometimes opportunity is like senior meals. So having a flyer go out in home delivered meals, Reach Out of Holly does, they're sometimes called different things, but grab and go meals where folks will come grab, like if there hasn't been advertisements in something like that, that's a great way to get the word out. Also, we would be happy to distribute any flyers or communications at any meetings we're at, our team, so it might not necessarily be me, but I can get the message to our staff. And as well as, you know, our Facebook page, you know, opportunities like that. We also do email blasts. So if there's anything like that, if you know of a person I can connect to for a flyer, we will hit the ground running and
Yeah, I
communicate.
think that would be really helpful, and I can coordinate with Commissioner Ebinger and how we triage that, because, you know, sometimes we get in this, all of us get in this cycle, you always see the same thing, that's how the algorithm presents it, but, you know, how do we think more critically about how we're getting that information out? Is it connecting to maybe a child caregiver that can hang that sign at, you know, mom's house on the fridge so that they see it and they're more apt to make that call? I don't know what that is, but I think what you identified would be helpful, and we can get that information to Commissioner Ebinger to get to you.
Yep. Well, thank you.
Anything else? So, are you on a calendar year for your budgeting purpose, or are you on a fiscal year?
So some of our grants run on fiscal and some run on state. So overall, through our area plan, I believe we are on a federal fiscal year.
Okay.
Go for the match funding.
And then in your letter, your request was for $9,490. How does that compare to last year?
Let me double check. So we,
A 5.56%
503.
increase,
Okay, I guess if I,
maybe a 5.56 increase.
yep, so it's a difference of $503
Okay.
from last year. And we run that using the American Community Survey data, the 5-year data for 60 plus. And the 60 plus stems from the Older Americans Act. That threshold is 60 plus for services. So it equates to about 75 cents a senior.
Don't worry, Commissioner, we're well within the range there.
what's that?
We're well within the 60-plus range.
Oh, yeah. All right, Heather, well, there's no further, oh, go ahead. Yes, Commissioner Bear.
Have you given this presentation to the other counties that are in Region 4? Because I assume you're going to go to all counties and show them this?
Well, so what we do is we mail this out. So it was approved, the matching fund request was approved at our Dancing Sky Board meeting last Monday. And then normally what we do is I send a letter here, you know, to all of our counties. And then some request an in-person presentation, and then some will maybe request additional follow-up. Some never say anything. So I am just in my 3rd year as director, 10 years with Dancing Sky, but I do try to go out, but I would say I've not made it to all of the counties to present. So if there's somewhere where you think I should be, I will make it happen.
You came to us, so I'm happy about that. I assume Commissioner Ebinger had a hand in that, so. But another question so it's a 20% match, so if we put in 20%, the grant, they provide 80%, correct?
So it's an overall 25% that we have to contribute. So that's from all of our
yeah.
counties. So not just,
Clay
not
County.
just Clay County. And then if you'll notice, Region 1 on the sheet that we send out, Region 1 is our Regional Development Commission, so they are subject to tax levy. So they put in close to $4 per older adult. But that explains the difference of that math.
And does that 25% cover all the grants that you receive?
So that is for our Federal Older Americans Act, our program development and coordination, and then also our admin. And then, you know, we do utilize match funding, you know, if we have different grants, like the adult protection one that we applied for, there wasn't match involved in that. So sometimes if there's additional monies that we, you know, potentially go for, then sometimes there's match, or, you know, we have to utilize in kind different things like that. But specifically for those federal funds, for us to draw those down, we have to be met with 25% match, which comes from the counties.
So what is the total that you are getting from the federal grant this go around?
So it's around 300,000 for our admin, and it's close to, let me look for our PDNC. We just got preliminary allocations. just over 130,000 for our program development and coordination,
So a total of 430,000 roughly?
roughly.
And with the Region 1, 2, and 4 raising about 151,000?
Yep.
All right, any other questions? Well, certainly, thank you for coming here today, and as Commissioner Mojo said about the collaboration, I think that the collaboration that you're doing with Reach and Holly and CAP-LP here in Clay County and the WRAP services that are provided for our citizens who might need the legal assistance it's very important, and oftentimes we don't focus enough on senior citizens except for maybe during the budget cycle when I tell all these people that we want to keep these people in their homes, and that's part of it is, you know, how we levy, so.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I will leave a couple business cards, so if you guys have additional questions or need anything else, please, you know, always feel free to reach out. We will do our best that we can.
And I'm impressed that you did all of that stuff without even any notes in front of you. Pretty good.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
Well,
Very, very well done. Thank you.
thanks, Heather.
Thank you.
All right, we'll have our highway engineer coming in. So we're going to have a bid opening on the joint highway facility.
Thank you. Good morning.
Thanks, Joe.
Morning, you.
All right, who's leading this? Joe?
I'll just tip it off here, and then, yeah, so we're gonna be opening up bids for the joint highway roof project, full replacement, and right now we have 5 bids that we're gonna be opening up, and then, just so you know, the number that you'll be reading here, I believe it's 45% of, we're responsible for, the city, and the MnDOT will be picking up the rest. So we're gonna open up bids today, take a look at everything, bring them back, and come back with a recommendation next week. So
Right.
with that, yep.
If I might really quickly, just for the record, who are our partners in the joint highway facility?
City of Moorhead, who pays 22%, and then MnDOT, who pays 33%.
Thank you.
So, yep. So, okay.
All right, so the first bid we have is from Herzog out of Detroit Lakes.
You don't have it fancy like on when you do.
No,
I'm
we're
used
pretty.
to the electronic bids. I haven't had to do this in a while.
I'm making them go old school.
So they do have a copy of certificate of liability insurance, as well as their contractor's license. And then they also do have a bid bond in the amount of 5%. Their bid is $498,000.00, $498,000.00. The next bid is A&R Roofing Company Incorporated. They are out of West Fargo. They do have a bid bond in the amount of 5%, as well as certificate of liability insurance, and then also their contractor's license. Their bid is $523,320.00. $523,320.00. Next bid is MJ Dawson Company of West Fargo.
Can you say that company name one more time?
MJ Dawson Company. They do have a bid bond in the amount of 5%. Then they do have a contractor's license and certificate of liability insurance as well. And their bid is $568,943.00. $568,943.00. Next bid is North Star Contracting out of Fargo. They do have a bid bond in the amount of 5%, as well as certificate of liability insurance and their contractor's license. Their bid is $475,270.00. $475,270.00. And then the final bid is Tecta America Dakotas out of Fargo. They do have a bid bond in the amount of 5%, as well as their insurance and contractor license. And their bid is $438,867.00. $438,867.00.
All right, that concludes that's the last of them?
Yep.
So, based on that, obviously you're gonna take, look those over. I think you've got it, the agenda is gonna go to the city of Moorhead.
Yes.
Just for the public's information, we had a project estimate between $450,000 and $525,000 on the low end. Clay County would have been looking at $202,500 based on the engineers, or based on your estimates.
Yep.
And it looks like this comes in at $197,490 for Clay County share. So it's certainly within our range that we were talking about in the building committee, so.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I'll, we'll shoot these numbers over to the other two entities, and we'll be back next Tuesday, so.
Put together an abstract too, and just make sure that all the correct forms are in there and bring it back.
All right, so we're on track, right? No other actions needed today?
Nope, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have a request approval to fill open LPN position for the withdrawal management detox. We have Troy and Kathy here today. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Today we are asking to fill a budgeted LPN position for a recently vacated LPN position.
All right, and this is obviously it's a budgeted item already, and any questions from the board?
Is there any need for backfill?
Yeah, there could be, yeah.
Well, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve or to advertise and hire a full-time LPN position for the withdrawal management detox facility and include backfill on that.
A second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ebinger, second by Commissioner Krabenhoff. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. All right. Next, we have the presentation of award for withdrawal management and detox. Kathy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, we would like to recognize Troy as the leader of detox and withdrawal management and his team in regard to the award that was presented by Share House. They had their 50th anniversary, and they have various awards to community partners and some internal ones. And so Detox Withdrawal Management did receive the Partner in Healing Award, and that is to, we are partners with them with our detox and withdrawal management program, not only Share House, but other treatment facilities. And Troy has led this team in ensuring that clients are able to get to treatment facilities. Sometimes there's a wait. There's not always an opening. So Troy ensures that we keep that client in the facility until such time they can get there. If we discharge them, chances of getting to treatment sometimes is pretty slim. So with Troy's leadership and working with his LADC team and nurses, it's a great honor that he received the award from Share House for being a partner, a valid partner, obviously, in the community.
That's great. Yeah. Thank you. So before you leave, Troy, I want to, we had our insurance committee meeting, and one of your staff people came up to me after the meeting, and he said he had a bone to pick with me. And he said that, I'm saying this lighthearted now, so.
I know what's coming.
Yeah, and
usually do.
here one of his people wanted to buy pizza for everybody in the building, and he was probably going to do this out of his own pocket.
Yep.
And he tried calling places, and nobody would deliver up to your facility there. And so I'm putting a call out today to all of our pizza places in Moorhead, suggesting that they be able to deliver to 15th Avenue North at our facility. And so hopefully, maybe there will be a response from somebody on that. And it was a fun conversation with him, but it shocked me that they wouldn't deliver right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty disappointed.
Yes, he was.
And hungry.
He said, I have a bone, because you're the one who wanted that facility up there.
Well, he came into my office straight face and said, I have a bone to pick with you. Why did you build out here? Because we can't get pizza delivered. I said, you might want to talk to the commissioners.
So anyway, it was.
That's funny.
Hopefully one of these pizza places will recognize. I mean, it's not far. It's not,
That's
It's
crazy.
really no farther than a lot of other places
Right.
to get.
Well, thank you for doing that.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate that.
Yes.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment quick. This award is very well deserved. Troy, you just do a phenomenal job. You really live the work, and as is the case with so many of our employees, you go above and beyond, and you're constantly either coming back from the lake or working on the weekends to help fill the void. But really, the design and fruition that has been this new building really comes from your leadership, and it is we're deliberate in implementing certain components in that due to what you'd seen in your work. And you're a really humble person, and so I know it's kind of hard to sit here with an award in front of you. It's a little awkward for you, but we are so, so appreciative of the work that you do. And, you know, you really bring a face of humility to the people that you serve, so thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My staff deserves a lot of credit for taking these clients, and they're not always easy, and but we do our best, so I really appreciate the kind words.
All right. Excellent.
And no, you can't have the day off today.
You
And
can come to the picnic.
We certainly all echo,
I'll get you lunch at the picnic.
maybe you could deliver pizza for him.
Thank you, guys. I mean, the support that you've provided to allow us to have this facility is really amazing, and we've been busy. It has exceeded my expectations for what I thought we'd have for population, so, yep.
Well, it's both fortunate and unfortunate. But.
Yep,
Right, well, thank you both.
thank you.
All right, Steve, request approval to sign this 179D tax credit allocation letter for Klein, McCarthy Architects.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. As you are aware, as we've had items before this commission previously, architects or designers of projects have the ability under the 179D energy efficient commercial buildings deduction to provide or request a reimbursement for qualifying energy improvements in new construction or remodels. And so we have a request from Klein McCarthy Architects to submit for that application. As a government entity, we are not eligible to receive the deduction, and they have requested to utilize this 179D. Just from the board's perspective, it is roughly $6,293, but there is a $3,000 fee that it goes for the application process, so there'd be a net benefit of $3,283 or $93, excuse me. Klein McCarthy did reach out to Gertz Construction in regards to being a co-sponsor request, as they've done, I guess, in March of this year, and I did receive notification from Gertz that they declined, and so it would just be submitted on behalf of Klein McCarthy. With that, I'd yield for any questions.
Questions? All right, what's the board's wishes?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve the request from Klein McCarthy Architects and authorize county staff to execute the necessary documentation allowing allocation of the IRS 179D energy efficiency tax deduction for the DMV facility project.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Ebinger, a second by Commissioner Bear. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Motion carried. Our next item is a closed session for board discussion regarding pending litigation per Minnesota Statute 13D.05 subdivision 3B, attorney-client privilege. Is there a motion to close?
So move.
I'll second the motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bear, second by Commissioner Mojo. Any further discussion on the motion? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. We are in closed session. And we'll All right, we are back in session. The remaining item that we have on our agenda is the committee reports, and we'll start with Commissioner Krabenhoff today.
I have none to report.
All right, we'll move on to Commissioner Mojo.
Thank you. I have 2 weeks of reports. I attended the highway tracking meeting after board that was reported on last Tuesday. I attended the county extension committee meeting. Good reports. There's a little bit of technical difficulty, but there was a long discussion in regards to the proposed budget. So I did have a follow-up meeting with staff after that. I attended the district AMC meeting in Ortonville as part of the running for second vice president, and then attended the Solid Waste Advisory Committee meeting on that Thursday that was reported on by Commissioner Campbell. And then last week attended the MetroCog meeting. We did fail to reach a quorum, which was tricky in regards to the business at hand, but we did have a presentation from Resource Connect in regards to their transit service presentation. Good connection in regards to transit. Yesterday, I attended the Lakeland Mental Health Center board meeting. There was really excellent reports from Otter Tail and the Clay County Collaboratives in regards to the bar programming in the Otter Tail County schools. I know Clay County schools have that as well, but really good results in regards to what they're seeing with truancy and diverting behaviors there. There was an update from the Clay County Collaborative on their grants that they'd awarded. And again, in that vein of collaboration, there are just so many different partners that are doing great work in the counties that they represent. So it's really great to see them utilizing each other's strengths. I think there's definitely a cost savings there, but even more importantly is a service connection piece. And then there was updates on the access indicators for their services throughout all their different agencies. As one item to note, even though we're in summertime where some people are taking time off, we're still seeing really great shortened access times to services, psychiatry services between 4 to 12 days in Clay County. So that's really, really great and important. And had a bit of a discussion in regards to Medicare and federal reimbursement components. That is a large issue for them, but we'll see how that's reconciled. And then MetroCog, again yesterday, a continuation of some of the items that were at the Thursday meeting. I did have a meeting yesterday and signing bills yesterday for that. That concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Bear.
Mr. Chair, I have no committee reports through.
You, Commissioner Everett.
Thank you. Wednesday, the 18th, I attended the Lake Agassiz Regional Library Board of Trustees meeting, two meetings actually. The first was Finance Committee meeting, where we reviewed and approved a preliminary budget for 2026. That was forwarded to the main board meeting, which followed the Finance Committee meeting. It was approved, and the request will be going out to the signatories on that. We also reviewed, we have gotten the first written agreement on leasing property or leasing office space in the new library. It was reviewed and forwarded to the full committee, which met and reviewed it, and we will continue to negotiate with the city of Moorhead to try and come up with a lease that is suitable to both parties. And that took up the entire rest of the meeting. Yesterday, I met with Kimberly Savageau to review some fees that are going to be, she's going to present to us, I believe, on the 8th of July, and I won't go into details on that, but as usual, she has researched and has very compelling reasons for any fee increases or changing the fees, and it'll be a good discussion for the 8th. And that completes my report.
Thank you. The only meeting that I had last week after our late Tuesday meeting was we had a very in-depth Prairie Lakes solid waste budget meeting last Friday. There's 3 of us that serve on that committee, and 2 of them are new, so we really spent a lot of time going over the budget. And currently as it stands right now, There's about $377,000 that are gonna be needed in new revenue. And of course, our revenue is determined based on the expenditures, and part of where most of the expenditures are increasing, there's some that deals with the wages, and that includes the anticipated 0.44% on the Paid Family Leave Act. There's some other issues regarding the ash. Still, there's the new ash landfill, and then the trying to reclaim ash. There's dollars involved with that. That's going to be a long-term investment. But anyway, currently, if that were to be approved, and we did not put forward a recommendation for next Wednesday yet, we're going to still have some more time to discuss this. But as it would stand right now, it would be a 5.2% increase, and that would equate to, for Clay County, an additional $24,670. So I don't know, as Corey is preparing his budget, he'll probably have to include that potential increase. And that is based on, the other thing on that, it was based on 54,000 tons being put through that facility as opposed to 55,000, because they're anticipating additional down days this year due to some major work on one of the units. So there'll be some additional down days, which then translate in the need for purchasing gas to still fulfill our commitment for the steam, which I don't want to get any more in the weeds than that unless you have questions on it. So that concludes that, and I know Commissioner Mojo has one more thing, but I just wanted to point out that, and you all got a copy of it, received a letter today, and I just want to read this letter, and it's Dear Clay County Board of Commissioners, this was dated June 10th. I want to bring to your attention the extraordinary services and unwavering dedication of Mr. Kurt Cannon, the Veteran Service Officer for Clay County. When my father's Parkinson's disease began to progress, we were overwhelmed, not sure just by his health struggles, but also by the confusing and complex processes of seeking justice and support through the campaign Lejeune claim system. A class action attorney mentioned to contact VSO, and that is when I contacted Mr. Cannon. From day one, Kurt stepped in with dedication, knowledge, and heart. Kurt worked tirelessly to help my parents and me navigate the paperwork, and sat with us to help us understand. Kurt's diligence helped my father go from 30% to 70% disability, and overall up to 100% disability. Helped my mom get care payment and assistance for respite care. He restored help during a time of uncertainty and despair. Kurt Cannon exemplifies the best of what it means to serve. I hope you will consider doing something special to honor him. He deserves to know that his work matters at its highest level. And we certainly have known that for quite some time, and I think time and time again we hear these things. And Mr. Gannon is going to be doing his dancing and flipping burgers here in a couple of hours, and so we better all make sure that we let him know about this letter. And I'm not going to state the author's name, but you do have that in the form of the letter. But I just, again, that is such an important component. We have thousands in Clay County who are recipients of benefits as, veterans and veterans' families in Clay County, and he does amazing work. So,
Mr. Chair,
yes.
just to add to that, Kurt is mentoring the new VSO over in Becker County. He is covering a couple of counties, I think, right now that don't have VSOs. Statewide, he's recognized as a leader, and we're lucky to have the guy. And plus, he usually gets a pretty good mixtape to provide a little entertainment for the picnics. So, good man.
All right, Commissioner Mojo.
Thank you. I just want to take a moment. Our community lost a champion last week, and I just want to take a moment to honor and remember Melissa Tooney, who is a true champion for Clay County and a shining example of what it meant to live a life of service, community, and heart. Melissa's passion for this place, the people, the traditions, and especially the Clay County Fair ran deep. She learned early on what it meant to give back, growing up in a family where public service wasn't just a value, but it was a way of life. Her father, Roger Ellefson, as many of you knew and recalled, served Wilkin and Clay County with distinction, and Melissa carried that legacy forward with grace, grit, and purpose, whether it was as a leader of the Humboldt 4-H Club or as a dedicated member of our Clay County Fair Board. Melissa gave her time and her heart to the things and the people that she loved most. Her fingerprints are on so many of the things that make our community stronger, and while her absence is deeply felt, her presence remains in the smile of the FFA and 4-H kids showing their animals, the laughter of families walking the fairground, and in the pride that we all feel calling this place our home. So in tribute to Melissa, I invite all of you to do something that would have brought her great joy. Visit the Clay County Fair this upcoming July, walk the barns, cheer on the kids, take in the food, the fun, and in the spirit of community that she loves so deeply. Because that's how we know we can keep Melissa's light shining, by showing up for the fair that she held so close to her heart. Thank you.
Thank you for that. All right, Mr. Larson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Last Tuesday, I participated in 3 pre-budget meetings. Those meetings will start coming before you next week. We had GIS, technology, planning, zoning. Spoiler alert, one of those budgets is going to see a 1.56% decrease. Later that day, I met with our weekly meeting with the city of Moorhead representatives, Dan Molly, Peyton Mastera, in regards to the White Earth Nation. We are in the process of scheduling representatives from the White Earth Nation to begin talking about some of the things that the committee has brought forward. That afternoon, I met with the administrators group, Robert Wilson, Michael Redlinger, and Dan Molly, in regards to our communities, budget processes. North Dakota has levy limits this year, so there's a discussion on that. Staffing issues between both places, triple RDC. And 18th also had an MCC JPA pre-meeting. We have a board meeting coming up this week. Yesterday I participated in 3 additional budget meetings, highway, human resources, and recorder. Also met with the sheriff on a series of different issues. And as was mentioned, today we have our county appreciation picnic for our staff from 11:30 to 1. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Brian, anything? Okay. Is there anything? Anything else? All right, we're adjourned.